I had a unique situation one time. I was coming in for a landing for the runway. They put me on a base to the active runway. There was a jet that was landing, and there was also a jet that was taking off within just a couple of minutes of each other, and I was pretty tight into the airport at that point. They had cleared me to land to the runway, so why didn't I feel comfortable with that? Well, let me tell you why. Essentially, if you think about it, you have a runway here, you have this approaching aircraft that's landing, so all of this space through here is a no-fly zone for me. Now, you have the other aircraft that took off, and so all the space underneath that departure path is no good. So basically, I'm committed to land between 2 points. Let's say I misjudge or I have a bad approach. Well, does that mean I'm committed to the landing? It does, and that could put me in a bad situation. As I was coming in, I was just not comfortable with being committed to that certain amount of space. Essentially, I had to negotiate with the air traffic control, which I'm not sure if they quite understood where I was coming from as far as going around and taking another runway as far as landing is concerned. There are a couple other important points worth noting. One is the approach and departure paths of aircraft producing wake turbulence can be quite steep, and for small aircraft to match that, those angles can be quite difficult. Now, when wake turbulence comes down and descends and hits the ground, it tends to spread out in a no-wind condition. Things get complicated though when there is wind. So not only can wind push the wake turbulence to an adjacent runway, be it a parallel runway or a crossing runway, it can also cause the upwind segment of the wake turbulence to sort of stagnate over the runway. So it's creating that turbulence right there over the runway, and you have to really keep that in mind as you're flying in or departing for the approach. That's the point. If you have a crossing runway or a parallel runway, be cautious and act like basically that if you're coming in for approach, let's say for a parallel runway, and there's an airliner that's coming on their approach just before you and you're kind of following them in, act like that aircraft is landing on the runway that you are, and that should help you with your wake turbulence avoidance. Things get more complicated when you talk about crossing runways, and the best plan is to just visualize kind of what is going on. The aircraft is crossing through the intersection. You have to be very cautious about, okay, there's wake turbulence coming through this intersection, and you might have to, one, delay, and two, cross through the intersection before initiating rotation. It's a good reminder to remember about wake turbulence. Sometimes we forget or we're not in that situation and we come to a larger airport and we go, oh yeah, we have wake turbulence issues. Pay attention and make sure you stay above those flight paths of large, heavy jets coming in. Until next time, TC Freeman with wingsofun.com.